evening, everyone. Hello, hi. My name is Herbie, and on behalf of Public Programs, I want to say thank you so much for coming out tonight and standing in the freezing cold with us. But I just wanted to say thank you on behalf of the Exploratorium to Adam Savage for coming out this week and building this stuff with us. It's been fantastic, and I'm really excited that he's here, and I'm really excited that you're all here, and without further ado, here he is.
Hello! Thank you guys. This isn't freezing cold anywhere in the world. Only San Franciscans would be debilitated by this temperature. So yeah, I have just had this experience of spending 3 days building live in front of a crowd. Many of you stood here for hours and hours and hours. I didn't know what to expect when I embarked upon this. I actually don't love it being watched while I solve problems. But I move towards the things that I fear, and that was the case here. I will tell you that I did a lot of pre-prep of this device before I showed up. My shop assistant, Aaron, welded 24 triangles, tons of bushings. He made me Teflon washers because apparently you can't buy those. And so we showed up with enough that I thought that I could probably put this together in a few hours. And then it ended up in a grueling slog where I really wasn't sure until this afternoon that it was going to work at all. And then as I was driving home, actually specifically Joey, my tested cameraman, this is Adam, but Joey was filming me this last 3 days. Joey was like delighted and surprised that it worked. And I thought, that's a familiar feeling. Oh, right, I get the same thing from my Mythbusters cameraman. So I realized that what I ended up doing here is the same thing I've been doing for 15 years, which is biting off a little more than I can chew, building something complicated while people watch, having it not work for a huge portion of the time, and then getting it to work at the last minute. I want to talk about what went wrong, because I put this whole thing together, and boy, it was a lesson in how distributed the system is. I knew that, but also how critical all the measurements were. And there was a gentleman who was standing over here for much of the time. Where is he? Where is the... Yes, sir. Thank you so much. What is your name? Ken. Ken Fujimura. Ken was giving ideas to Herbie here about what was going wrong with my machine. And I was very specific that I wanted to do the problem solving on my own. That's kind of the way I like to build. And so I wasn't going to have this be a collaborative process, because that's a Pandora's box. I'm not sure what it's going to be like. But I did, the word got back to me that Ken had said that the central geometry of the Strand base, which is these two pivots that are the main pivots for the legs, and this central pivot where the camshaft goes, that relationship was wrong. And I thought, I don't think that it's wrong, because it shouldn't make much of a difference. And I thought about it and thought about it and thought about it, and I kept on trying to solve the other problems, eliminate the other variables. And then at 4:30 this previous morning, I woke with a start and thought, oh, look at the original measurements. I had transferred them carefully into my notebook, all but one. And the one that I hadn't transferred was the fact that these three points are not on a line. They actually form a triangle, and that I wanted my triangle, that my central crankshaft pivot to be 3.5 inches above the line. So then I was up until 5, trying to figure out the best way to do it, and I cut this thing up in my head about 1 million different ways before realizing, dummy, there are 8 uprights. All I need to do is measure 3.5 inches on those, cut each one, and then I used a bunch of tie straps to really force the geometry into something new. Which for me is, I recognize that I could have made it go easier by getting it right on the first try. But I think that's generally my lesson in life. I want to make this work for you, and then I would love to take some questions from the audience. But if you'll indulge me, we'll have the inaugural official trip of my Strand bike, I guess, is what we call this. All right. Here's hoping that nothing snaps on the way. And we discovered today that I need to be facing downhill. Oh, hey, these bike packs hurt. All right, here we go. Come on, baby. Yes! Whoa! Don't snap. There we go! Whoa! We got to build some momentum. That's it. Okay, here we go.
See, that's a military.
Yes! Yeah! Woo! Oh, cool. I'm crashing into the fence. That's what's happening. There we go. And as Teo does, Sisyphean, I'm going to push it back into the light. Oh, he's lost a shoe. Several. Does anyone have any questions? Yes, sir. The question is, what is the relationship of the crankshaft's offset? And it's very simple. It's the cranks are each offset 120 degrees to their neighbor, so that 3 of them make a full revolution. As to how the 2 sides relate to each other, Norm went inside yesterday to look at Teo's, and there doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason to how he's connected the 2 sides. It's all over the place. And I, in fact, made mine not bilaterally symmetrical, but identical, which luckily didn't bone me. How about over here? Yes?
Did you tell Teo what you were going to do and what you were going to use metal and
I did tell, so the question was, did I talk to Teo about what I was going to build? I did. He came to my shop for a couple of hours. He's a delightful, wonderful, inquisitive, amazing, avuncular man. And I was worried that steel was somehow violating a central idea. I've been saying this for the last couple of days, but I love that he uses PVC. It's such a terrible material for mechanical construction. And so, I mean, the Bhats, one of my first jobs here in San Francisco in the early 90s was working for Chico McMurtry of Orphic Robot Works. Old timers will remember the early machine art community in San Francisco in the 90s. And Chico's robots were always a triumph of Chico's ambition over his lack of engineering skills. And I'm not saying Teo lacks engineering skills, but each one of his Strandbests is sort of a triumph of his will over the material itself, and I like that. I chose steel specifically because it's a more forgiving material for me. And Teo gave me total permission. He said, yeah, I have cheated on the PVC and used steel in the past. How about over here? Did I consider a more standard bicycle construction? I did, except that someone's built one of those. I was really hoping to get on top of this, but I just don't feel like, once I built it, I didn't feel like it was gonna, wow, wait a second. I don't. Oh, it's adult night. There are no children here. Oh, that is so awesome. Oh my God, I had no idea this would work. Oh, that is, wow. You see how seat of pants this all really is. Well, people meet me and they're like, well, you are exactly what I expected. How about, yes?
I have to ask, who came up with the shoes?
Who came up with the shoes? I did.
Yeah. Of course you did.
I have not seen shoes, and of course, if you're going to put shoes on anything, it has to be red Converse high tops. My friend Tom Sachs designs stuff with Nike, and he reached out to his contact at Nike. I literally mentioned it to him, and 2 days later, 12 pairs of shoes showed up. So we've destroyed, 6 pairs of shoes showed up. 7, sorry. 8, actually. I included 1 extra pair for screwing up. I need women with questions. I'm getting mostly dudes. Where are you?
I really appreciate the fact that you're creative as well as very engineering savvy. When do you find you have the most ideas? You sit up late at night and think, oh my God, I have an idea. Or do you get your ideas mostly during the day when you're tinkering with something?
When do I have the most ideas? That's a really good question. You know, I go through, it's seasonal. And I don't mean seasonal like summer, spring, fall, winter. It's more like there are periods of time when I'm drawing every day, all sorts of different things. And then there's periods of time where I'm writing a lot. And then there's you know, for me right now, I'm keeping a lot of plates spinning. I'm trying lots of different things. We're getting ready to go to Comic-Con. We're going to go to New York Comic-Con this year. We just went to Australia. All those things require ideation. They require thinking about the narratives and how we're going to do them. And so I'm lucky enough that the creativity takes all these different forms of writing and drawing. I really like the process of working and solving the problems as you go with them. So for me, that's what this was all about. It was like, I knew I was going to encounter some stuff. I didn't know it would be as hard as it ended up being. But that was sort of the point. As far as like staying up late at night, I love airplanes. So understand, I have twin 17-year-old boys. I'm almost never alone in my life. And teenagers are disgusting. But on an airplane, when I have a long trip, is where I get a lot of creative work done. It's where I can really sink my teeth in. And as long as there's no internet, I can get even more work done. But on this last trip to Australia, United now has internet over the Pacific. Wow. Yeah, took a whole, I was on Reddit the whole time. Yes. Teo has this freeform idea with PVC. How do I do this with metal? I got so much inspiration for how loose his bots really are. His Beasts. I mean, watching his walk on the beach where like the leg was like this, doing this whole thing, I was like telling myself, you can chill about the rigidity. I expect needle bearings in all of these, and that was ludicrous. I needed lots of slop to make this work, because there's a lot of slop in his Beasts. Steel, like I said, steel is more flexible for me. It's more forgiving, and it gives me, thank goodness, it's flexible enough that I was able to bend this whole part of the central spine up today in about 2 hours. Oh yeah, we got plenty of time. How about over here? Yes?
I teach physics and engineering. What do you think is the most important idea of physics and engineering for someone to take home?
That physics is a deeply creative field. I think that, too often when we look, before Mythbusters, I thought of physics as something that smart people did. And don't get me wrong, there are smart people in physics, but if you don't think you're one of them, you're an idiot, right? Because it's not just like for geniuses, it's actually these beautiful sets of equations and understandings about the world, and there's plenty of room to move, there's plenty of room to discover new stuff. The end of any line of questioning is still, I don't know. And to help kids understand that stuff is, that it's creative, that there's room to see what's going on instead of just facts to memorize.
Yeah.
Thank you. I think about that educationally as, I was raised with, high school chemistry was a grueling slog because it was just crap to memorize. So I thought of chemistry as just endless amounts of facts. But when you put those facts in a story and a context, they actually make some sense. And that's when I started, Mythbusters really did, by helping me put all those things into stories, turn me into at least a gentleman scientist by the end, without any actual accreditation. Oh, yes. Did I have any other ideas? No, I put all my eggs in this one basket. Until 2 o'clock today, I was thinking that the dig headline tomorrow would be, Adam Savage spent 3 days building something that didn't work and it's okay. I was like, that's a good headline, I could deal with that. It's kind of my brand to screw up publicly and talk about it. Yeah, how do I keep from getting frustrated or giving up on a project like this? Well, it was pretty public, so kind of hard to not show up. But I did get really frustrated. My wife will tell you I was kind of down yesterday. I was exhausted. I was on my feet we were on our feet for 8 hours each day. Plus, I dropped something on my kitchen floor and I called my son to pick it up because I couldn't bend over. But the thing about the getting frustrated, and I love that you asked that question, is it happens to everyone and it happens all the time. It is the rule, not the exception. And there's nothing about my success or the weird fun life that I'm enjoying right now that keeps me or insulates me from frustration and difficulties and all of that stuff. The imposter complex is totally real. Literally yesterday I was like, why did I take on this project? I am not a mechanical guy. I don't know how this works. Can't solve this problem. I recognize that that's part of my mechanism. I recognize that I'm going to feel that way in the middle of every single project. Next week, we're going to wrap up my costume for Comic-Con. I don't know how it's going to go. I've got to finish this thing, and I don't know how it's going to work. And I'm nervous about it. I built 95% of my costume 2 months ago. This last part has just been taunting me. And I'm sure it'll be frustrating. But I also remember that is, again, that's part of the mechanism, and I just push past that into the work. But I think it's really important also that we normalize the fact that we don't know what's going on to our kids and to other people who are doing stuff. I did the Reddit AMA a couple months ago for the Makers subreddit. And 4 of the questions were, how do you deal with getting despondent about a project? And I was so grateful to be able to talk about it. And I was talking about answering that question because during that time I got that question, I was in the middle of the worst week I'd ever had in my shop. Like, for years, I just felt totally despondent about my lack of skill in being able to achieve what I was trying to do. And I was having lunch with a friend the next day after the AMA saying how great it was to get to talk about this. And my friend was like, I thought it was only me. And this is another grown man who's never checked with anybody else, or no one's ever told him that we all feel like frauds a good portion of the time. And that's, again, I remember calling my mama, I think I was around 35, and I was like, Mom, I'm just checking. You don't have any more of an idea about what's going on now than you did when you were 20, do you? She was like, nope. Yes.
So I have a 3-part question. Did you use plans of any kind, like drawings or AutoCAD or anything?
I used Teo's 12 measurements. So the relationship of these triangles to these struts to that triangle to these struts is all laid out by him as a relationship. I think this is the primary member, that's his whole number, and everything else is the divisor of that.
Lost your mic.
I can't stand that stupid Madonna head thing.
Are you going to put the seat on top?
Am I going to put the seat on top? Well, now, I can't believe that actually worked. I didn't think this thing would ever hold my weight.
That's amazing.
So no, I didn't even know how far apart the legs would be until I showed up on Tuesday. Yeah, this is.
Going next?
I feel. Where's it going next? I don't know. I've heard that there's a kinetic museum in Arcata. Look, I don't have the room to store this. So if someone wants to trade me a cool thing, we can. Okay, everyone chill. We can assess your offer through tested.com. Oh yes, okay. Let's see. I'll go over here. Yes.
When are you gonna blow it up?
When am I going to blow it up? That's my old job. I'm unemployed now. What's that?
One last question.
One last question. Okay. So it's a great question. And by the way, I'm not going to tell you what I'm going as at Comic-Con. Teo has many of his Strandbeests have wind power. They gather air and they put it out. He calls them wind stomachs. I thought if I couldn't get this to work with me or a motor that I might put a sail on it, but that was back when I thought I could actually get it running. And then once I couldn't get it running, I abandoned those, and then I thought the motor isn't as powerful as I was hoping, we're just gonna have to make sure it's me. So I am the power stomach of my Strand bike. I am the power source, and oh my God, since we can do this one more time. Hold on. Don't try this at home. We're just leaving a trail of feet. Footprints. This is also happening. I'm doing nothing but dad jokes these days. All right, here it goes. For your viewing pleasure, and thank you guys so much for staying out on a cold Thursday night. It has been such a pleasure talking to you. And thanks to the Exploratorium for all their amazing support in doing this. This is my favorite museum in the whole world. Go! Okay, we're gonna ride home into the mission. Wait, did I break it? Am I literally caught on a shoelace? Who's got a pocket knife? You better cut that. No, pocket knife.
Fine.
There you go. He's got one. Leatherman to the rescue. That's it. Thank you, Herbie. Thank you and good night.
Hi, Jank. It's Verb Day.